Yeah, I mean, I was just looking for a pitch that I could handle. He threw me a fastball first pitch of the at-bat, kind of sawed off my hands a little bit, but then he threw me a fastball again that next pitch, and I didn't miss it that time.
How good did that feel? I mean, Dave said that he knew it was out as soon as you hit it.
Yeah, it felt super good. I don't really I'm always running really hard around the bases, no matter if I think it's out or anything like that. So I mean, it felt really good off the bat, but I was still chopping.
And just that whole inning, I mean, 8-run inning, there's 12 batters. Casey even got 2 hits in the inning.
Yeah.
What was that like batting around?
Oh, it was awesome.
Maybe you guys can both.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, I mean, it's really cool to just hand it off to the next guy, and then, we got 1 out, and then we just couldn't get out from that point, and then just passing to the next guy. It's really fun to have an inning go on that long, being on the offensive side of it at least.
It's fun, yeah. It's fun. Echo that. It's fun to have those innings.
What do you guys think of Connor today, especially after what happened a week ago?
I thought Connor did great, obviously. It was great. We had, I think, no runs or 1 run through 5, and, he kept us in the game. And then, we kind of exploded. But, I think we all know Connor's capable of that, and today he showed it. But it was really good.
Welcome in. It's our Monday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. Yes, we are back. As we were out, we told you we had some some hype, and we like to call lit alterations, improvements to OTH and the studio in which we do this show. I'm hype, lit, all these things above, and I want to bring in my producer, co-host, Demetrius Johnson, demigod, but during this show, he's my home guy. What's up, my man? What's up with the new studio? I mean, I'm lit.
Yeah, I'm feeling good today.
You like that word too, don't you? Lit. Old guy like me.
About 3 years old. I'm glad you catching up to the time.
How's your weekend go? And for those that, when we were out Friday, we didn't get a chance to wish everyone a belated happy Easter. Hope everybody had a great Easter weekend. I know I did. How about yourself? What'd you get into, man?
It was pretty good. I spent a lot of the weekend in here making sure everything was ready. Just painting. Shout out to Corey Beck. He came through and painted the studio. So I just had a busy weekend.
Shout out to our wonderful sponsor for doing a great job. If you hadn't got a chance to get a hold of Corey Beck, you got to get a hold of him. I mean, when I walked in this place, didn't even recognize it. It was, well done. And want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also 2 in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville. And lastly, Locomotion. It's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. We came in with audio from Hog Razorback, victorious Razorbacks, Connor Nolan, and the gang, as they were able to take care of business as they hosted the number 2 ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs and came away with a weekend sweep over the second ranked Bulldogs, 3-0 winning the last game on Saturday, 10-2. Connor Nolan getting his first SEC win, Demetrius. Long time overdue, but he goes to speak about this baseball team. No matter what the situation, it's hard to come to Fayetteville and win a baseball game. They live for these types of moments, and what does this say going forward? If you look at Dave Van Horn, we like to talk all the time about pressure. No more pressure is put on the men's athletic program than what DBH does each and every year. You kind of hate to be Coach Mo following, the type of season that he's been having here over the last 3 or 4 years, don't you think?
Not at all. I think when you have the pressure, that's a sign that, you're getting that good money. Yeah, he's getting paid hefty. So I think Dave Van Horn is just meeting the expectations. I think that's what really gets him up in the morning. That's what really gets him excited to come to the University of Arkansas, knowing that, you know, he has a brand and a reputation to uphold. And I think when you're a true competitor and you really live that lifestyle, and I've heard national coaches talk about Dave Van Horn and possibly going to coach in the big leagues. So I think for guys like him, I think he lives for those type of situations.
While we were away on Friday, Mike Anderson, former Arkansas Razorback head men's basketball coach, has been named the new head basketball coach at St. John's University. I want to say a big congratulations to Coach Anderson. No doubt in my mind that Coach A can take that program and move it in the right direction. I mean, right now, St. John's, the Johnnies have not had a lot of success. One of the 5, I believe, worst collegiate programs. So a lot of work to be done. But one thing I do know, and what we've known about Coach Anderson during his time as a head coach, is he is a builder of programs that when he inherited them, they're not as on stable ground as most programs that say Eric Musselman was able to inherit here at the University of Arkansas. But congratulations to Coach A, Marshita, and family. Good luck, best wishes. I know they're going to do quite well in that conference. But moving on, we got a big show ahead of us. SEC, time to talk about it. We've been out a little bit, so time for OTH to get back on that bus and head to Tuscaloosa and get some updates. Spring football happened. We're going to talk with Touchdown Alabama, Stephen M. Smith. He's up next. And then more to come. Arkansas got a new basketball recruiter, Eric Musselman. The bus has struck again. Someone jumped on, and we'll talk about it with Kevin McPherson of Hogville.net at 1:30. All that's coming up. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a moment. Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla.
Deal. If you don't play well, you don't play, and it's as simple as that. Yeah, I'd love to be out there helping my guys when playing, but whatever it takes to win is what I'm going to do for the team. And like I said, it's a blessing to play every day. It's a blessing to just show up to the park in general. So I take nothing for granted. That's for sure.
You say you weren't a good teammate.
Yeah, freshman year, I just I'm sure you could ask Coach Van Horn that one too, because there were a couple times where I would even by Coach Fratello, who's at Tennessee now. But there was just some things that I had to fix, and sometimes you got to fix them the hard way. But yeah, I think you just get tested in certain ways, and more than just baseball. And it's something that I've definitely learned here, and I'm grateful for it in the long run for sure.
You mean you didn't have a good attitude?
Yeah, for lack of better terms, yeah, I'd just say lack of attitude, and just that's about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jordan, Jake, you guys have spoke a lot of really good teams here over the last 3 years. Just what's the comfort level of playing in this stadium, and maybe your thoughts on how good you have been here?
Playing in front of these fans, we definitely have an advantage, I'd say, especially when you have 11,000 people, I think it was, that came out. But it's super fun to play in front of this atmosphere, and to have them on our side, it's also a really big home field advantage. So it's really, I feel comfortable, for sure.
Yeah, to echo that, it's always fun to play in front of a big crowd, honestly, whether it's on road game or home game. But, it was really nice to have all of our fans out there supporting us today, and I think it really helped us get off to that I was going to say fast start, but no, we didn't have a fast start. But it helped us explode when we did, for sure,
What's the emotions like today compared to a week ago when you had that rough start at the end?
Definitely a better feeling. Obviously, last week didn't go as planned.
Welcome back. It's our Monday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And we always talk SEC. Arkansas SEC football just wrapped up all spring ball, so we're going to get on our bus and start talking about it. And we're going to head to Tuscaloosa and talk first with the standard of the SEC, the Alabama Crimson Tides, and what better way to do that than with our good buddy of Touchdown Alabama, Stephen M. Smith. Stephen, welcome back to OTH, my man.
That's sorry to be back, man. It's been wild, a crazy few months here, but very excited to join you and Demetrius again, Pat.
Stephen, this has to be a very interesting spring football that you just recently finished up. New coaching staff, new positions, a lot of moving parts. What did you come away, with probably 2 or 3 key thoughts following spring ball, in your opinion?
Well, there was a lot of positivity, Pat. Number one, Alabama with a number 2 quarterback behind Tua Tagovailoa. Mac Jones went out there, the redshirt sophomore, did some great things, passed the football 19 for 23, did toss for 2 touchdowns despite the wet field conditions. So I came away with the number 2 backup quarterback is in place. The number 2 thing, the Alabama defense is back. After last year, this group did not place in the top 10 in any major category in the spring game. Guys flying around the football, creating pressure, making tackles, creating turnovers, and just getting back to that Alabama defense that we're accustomed to seeing. So that's number 2. And number 3, the kicking game on special teams. Now, a true freshman and Will Riker out of Hoover, Alabama, made a 43-yard field goal, had made all 4 of his extra points, and Skylar DeLong, the punter, looks very much to improve. So the 3 main takeaways I got, you got the backup quarterback behind Tua in place, Mac Jones. Defense is back to being a sound group. And special teams, the kicking game, very much more improved than what's been the last few years under Nick Saban.
A lot of people assume that with the mass exodus at the offensive line position, with seniors graduating, that maybe they'd be a drop off. To me, I don't find that to be quite. I find it to be quite the opposite. Talk about the offensive line, and there's a lot of sleepers there, Stephen, that are just waiting to take their time to protect Tua. Talk about that offensive line and how much of an impact will they have to have for this team to have the success that you guys have grown accustomed to.
This may be the best offensive line, or this could potentially be the best offensive line Saban has had since the 2012-2013 group. And you mentioned it, Pat. There are some sleepers in this group, but there's quite a bit of experience returning to this group. First and foremost, your 2 offensive tackles, Alex Leatherwood, left tackle, Jedrick Wills, and right tackle, both of those 2 back. You have Matt Womack, of whom entered his redshirt senior season out of Hernando, Mississippi, and played both tackle and guard at 6'7", 325 pounds, who will be more so suited to that right guard spot. At center, you're looking at Chris Owens, a young man out of Arlington, Texas, at 6'3", 315 pounds, highly athletic guy. The team has a lot of confidence in him. He backed up Ross Kirschbaker at center through in 7 of the 15 games a season ago, so he's got some experience at that spot. And then at left guard, I look at a guy like Emil Ikior in that 2018 class, a young guy, but a guy that's got size and a lot of ability. So with those few guys I've just mentioned there, and Wills, Leatherwood, Chris Owens, Ikior, and Matt Womack, you're looking at an average of 300 pounds plus, an average of 6'3", 6'4" in height, and 300 pounds plus along with offensive line. So these are definitely back, and this could be a group that could legitimately win the Joe Moore Award due to the experience, but also just the overall talent that's on this line, coached by Kyle Flood.
Talking about the coaching staff, it's funny that you mentioned Coach Flood being one of the new coaches. How has, with so many coaches Coach Saban has had to bring in for this upcoming season, how has the transition been, not only for players, but for coaches as well?
I thought the coaching staff has made a smooth, seamless transition, especially on the defensive side of the ball, Pat. Sal Sunseri, who has been at Alabama once before as an outside linebackers coach from 2009 to, I believe, 2011, if I'm not mistaken. So, this is Sunseri's second stint. He's not new to this. This is home for him, and he's come back, and the outside linebackers have really taken a great turn to his coaching, his fire, his tenacity, and what he brings as that edgy type of coach, and not just having him. Both of his sons have joined him.
Right,
Denny
good point.
Sinceri returns as a graduate assistant with defensive backs, and Tino Sinceri will be helping out the likes of Steve Sarkisian with the quarterbacks are concerned. So it's great to have Sal back. You have a guy and Brian Baker working with the defensive line. He's got 30 years of experience coaching that side of the football, including 19 in the National Football League. He spent the last 3 years in Mississippi State molding that group to be a very dominant unit. So to have him in is very critical for Alabama. And then also Charles Kelly, a native of Ozark, Alabama, has 20-plus years of experience in coaching defenses and running defenses back. So to have the tenure, to have the experienced guys, to have the men. You know, last year Alabama had recruiters. This year they've got the men and the true teachers as far as coaches and instructors back. It's been a great transition for them. It's been a great transition for the players. Most importantly, it's been a great transition for Nick Saban, seeing that these guys are taking a lot of pressure off of him.
Talking with Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama, covers the Crimson Tide for us here on OTH, a position that, you know, you have to be remiss if you don't mention this special spot. That's Jerry Jeudy, Devonta Smith, and all those guys. Waddle, you know, how can that position improve, Stephen? Is there, you know, what are those guys, you know, what's the ceiling for those guys and the expectation level? You know, can it get any higher than what it was last year?
I mean, it's going to be darn near hard, man, to find a spot where this group can improve, especially when you're returning the Biletnikoff Award winner in Jerry Jeudy, a consensus All-American, a 1,000-yard receiver, a freshman in Jalen Waddle, who absolutely exploded last year. You know, 848 receiving yards for him, 7 touchdowns. And then you got Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs, two tough guys. You know, Henry Ruggs had a big year last year. Devonta Smith, that though he battled a hamstring for a couple of games, still very potent wide receiver. 693 yards for him. Did have 7 touchdowns. I think the biggest piece of improvement for them is just keeping that consistency going. Making sure to catch the football cleanly, turn good plays into great plays, and just continuing to be the security blanket for one Tua Tagovailoa, who's back to, you know, check off that box of winning a national championship. Part of that legacy at Alabama, where starting quarterbacks are concerned, is you are judged by championships.
Right.
You are judged by winning national titles as the guy, as the man, and as the starting quarterback. So for Tua, you know, he's back to check off that box that he did not complete in 2018, and having the weapons back, just those guys being able to carry that consistency, catch the football, make plays, get up and down the field, and score the football. That's the big-time deal. Now, the guys behind those guys, you look at a Tyrell Shavers, a Slade Bolden, a Xavier Williams, and a John Mechie, the true freshman here now. Alabama is 3 deep in wide receiver. So getting some of those young guys acclimated, getting some of those young guys to the fold is another thing that Saban is going to want to do. But as far as your leaders, your Judys, your Waddles, your Ruggs, your Devontae Smith, just keeping that positive consistency.
Talking about the SEC, you know, this year, Stephen, to me, this seems to be shaping up to be the most balanced conference race that I've seen in quite some time. And what I mean by that, you have coaches, you know, being poached from other SEC schools to come to other SEC schools and all that, you know, and the common denominator is a lot of great recruiters have entered the SEC with so much competition in that side of it, because, you know, it's a sport within itself, and it's always whoever, in my opinion, I like it to fishing, whoever can pull in the biggest fish, they always eat the longest. Talk about the SEC and how that's going to shape up. The SEC West had 6 out of 7 teams in the top 25 recruiting-wise. Talk about that, and you know, what can we expect in the conference race in 2019, in your opinion?
I think the 2019 SEC West is going to be a dogfight in the sense of I understand, Alabama at the top of that list with Nick Saban, but you look at LSU, has Ed Orgeron finally taken his hands off everything and will allow the coordinators to do their job.
Right.
If he's able to do that, then you look at LSU as a potential real competitor. You look at Arkansas, some good things going right now for you guys and Chad Morris. You bring up a guy in Nick Starkle from Texas A&M. That guy can really throw the football. Does Coach Morris put the pieces around him? But not just that. The Chief and John Chavis. Can he go back to being that defensive coordinator and using the pieces of Arkansas defensively to make some noise? Mississippi State, yes, you lose two coaches and Brian Baker and Charles Huff, the running back coach. You lose Nick Fitzgerald. You lose Montez Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons. But how will Mississippi State, with Coach Moorhead, continue to build? Ole Miss, you're still on probation. What's going to be looking like for those guys? Head coach Matt Luke. I feel like the entire SEC West could be a potential dogfight, and that's not even mentioning Texas A&M,
Right.
who finished in the top 5 of recruiting for this class. And a lot of the fan base are wondering how long will it be before us as Aggie Nation become a legitimate threat again.
Great point.
In terms of they have invested $500 million into this program. So this is a huge year for Jimbo Fisher. Kellen Mond's a strong quarterback. Do they have the weapons around him? Do you finally have the defense that can contend? But as far as just recruiting, everybody in the SEC West has pretty much recruited well, but now it comes down to the coaching.
Right.
Which coach in this SEC West can go toe-to-toe with Nick Saban?
Hey, well, as always, my man, we love what comes out of Tuscaloosa from you and Touchdown Alabama. But as always, we'll continue to talk, catch up. Hope you had a great Easter weekend, and thanks for taking time out on the hill, Stephen.
I appreciate you guys. My Easter was fantastic, man. You talk about dressing and collard greens galore, baby.
I hear you, my man. Well, eat up some for me and tell the family I said hello.
Will do. Y'all take it easy.
All right, my man. That was Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. Real quick before we go to our next break and hear more scuttlebutt from Arkansas's big 3-game sweep over the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Demetrius, you a big Alabama guy. You are a big Alabama guy.
Hey, bro,
so what's the Alabama?
Hold on.
You are a big Alabama guy.
Don't disrespect me like that. If you would have said LSU, I maybe would have let that slide.
I will give you that. LSU is yeah.
If you would have said LSU, I would have rolled with you.
Now, I'm kind of thinking when we go cover that game this year, which side you gonna sit on when you be on the LSU.
Since I got a photo pass, I'm gonna be on both sides.
All right, well, we're gonna step away, let you hear more of that player or Coach DVH, whichever one we decide to play. And that's just how we're gonna do it today because we can do that. And then next up, Arkansas got a new one. We're going to talk about it with Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and Hogville.net. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit. Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OT, player that fits what Coach Muss and his staff will be going after in years to come.
I think it is. The guy still averaged about 31% from three. He made about one three per game, so he's a threat, and you have the defense are going to have to account for that. And so when you're spacing the floor and you're trying to play up tempo, you're moving the ball with passing first. And if you can get 3-point shots, that's going to make the defense work harder to move and cover guys. And if you can create 3-point shots, great. If not, you need guys that can get the ball on the deck and get by their guy, get to the basket. I think some of the driving lanes are going to be wide open. And that's another thing Musselman talked about. If we're not making threes, we want to get to the basket. We want to score at the basket, whether that's a dunk, a land, or getting fouled, driving hard and getting to that free throw line. So, still average 85% was his shooting percentage at the free throw line last year. So here's a guy to me that kind of fits what you're talking about, positionless basketball, where you can't just say, well, he's a forward, he plays inside the 3 arc. No, he could step out and knock down a 3. He's got good mid-range craft. He can score around the basket, and if you foul him, he's going to make you pay. I think that's what Musselman's looking for, guys that can take advantage in multiple ways to make a defense pay.
Nan, can you give us a list of some more visitors that will be expected to make their way to Fayetteville? I know Cy, the young man, JUCO young man that's going to be making his way to Fayetteville. But who are some more grad transfers that you're hearing about, or transfers in general that Arkansas is starting to be linked to, since Coach Muss has made his way to Fayetteville?
Well, there's a lot of names out there. The ones that are planning to visit are Jair Grayer, a 6'5" wing. He spent really 4 seasons at George Mason. He only played 7 or 8 games this past year before a foot injury ended his season. He's going to seek a medical waiver. He believes he's going to get that for another year of eligibility. He's scheduled to come in a week from today, April 29th. Actually, he was supposed to come in today, and he told me he pushed that back. So it's a week from now. Averaged 8.8 points, a little over 3 rebounds in those 8 games last season. A guy that's got a pedigree in basketball. I mean, his dad, Jeff Grayer, was an NBA journeyman in the late 80s to late 90s. And so, as far as what he's told me, he's got no other visits planned right now, no other teams looking at him. I'm not saying they're not looking at him, but nothing planned for him to go visit. So we could see maybe him come off the board a week from today on his visit. And the other guy, Jahad Proctor, a 6'3" guard out of High Point, strong guy, second team All-Big South this year, averaged almost 20 points a game over there. But he's a guy that's going to visit Purdue this coming weekend. And so if he gets through that, he's scheduled to visit Arkansas May 3rd through 5th, the following weekend. So if he doesn't come off the board of Purdue, keep an eye on him. And he's a guy that's got several high majors looking at him. But those are the other 2 names right now after Scylla in terms of that grad transfer pool visiting Arkansas.
Who are some of the names, bigs, guys that are in the 6'9", the 6'11" range that's Arkansas is in talks with possibly, that's entered the transfer portal. Maybe not grad transfer, but, some players that, you have known connections, Coach Muss, and vice versa, interest in both.
Right. Well, that's going to start with Kadeem Sy. I think you mentioned his name when we first came on here.
Right.
He's a 6'10", 245. Started out at Virginia Tech 3 years ago, redshirted, transferred and played a sophomore season of JUCO at Daytona State College, where he averaged 17 points and 10 rebounds a game. And he's got a Final 5 he just announced last week, and Arkansas's in it, along with LSU, Ole Miss, East Carolina, and Pittsburgh in the ACC. He's already visited East Carolina and Pittsburgh. He's supposed to be at Ole Miss tomorrow. I think he's planning to go to LSU the weekend of May 3rd through 5th, somewhere in there. And my understanding is he's trying to set something up for Arkansas to go visit Arkansas somewhere in between. But he can step out and hit a 3, Pat. Big, long, he's a 5, but he can step out and shoot a little bit. And I like the way he plays inside as well. So, again, this guy's highly sought after. And if he sets up a visit with Arkansas, that'll be something we'll put out there as soon as possible. The other guy they're looking at with that kind of size is Nasir Brooks, a 6'11" center out of Cincinnati. He was a junior this past season, averaged 8 points, a little over 6 rebounds, 1.5 blocks a game. But he's looking to transfer, so presumably he'd have to sit out a year and then have one more year to play as a senior. But Arkansas's been in touch with him as well.
Talk about some of the newer high school. We've talked about the grad transfer JUCO route. It's already quite evident here in the first 2 weeks. Coach Muss is really making a push toward the high school prospects in the 20 and 21 class. Says he's made a few new offers. Talk about those guys, and I know you've talked to a few of the Arkansas in-state, the Moody's, or some of those guys. Through those conversations, what's the general feeling between the prospect and Coach Muss to this point?
I think it's been good. The general feedback has been good. I mean, Jalen Williams, Chris Moore, Moses Moody, and what I'm hearing about Musselman is he doesn't just tell them his vision about them, because he vets players, he does a lot of scouting, and he tells them, here's what I see, here's how you can fit into my system. Ask them for feedback. He asks them questions. And they talk about all kinds of stuff. Moses Moody said they've been talking about the NBA playoffs. So I think when you're building a relationship, I think it's good not only that the coach gives you a vision for what he can do, not only that he talks about his accomplishments on the NBA level and knowing what it takes, but also getting some exchange back from the player and asking them questions. I think that's a great way for the coach to learn about the player and things that they like and things that matter to them. So I think so far so good.
Last question before I let you go. I want everybody to know that just tuned in to us here on OTH. We're talking with Kevin McPherson of AR Hoop Scoop and Hogville.net. The coaching search. I know there's rumors Coach Sturman will be retained. Also, Anthony Ruda came down from Nevada. But are you hearing any more names of possible candidates? And, what's the timetable, if you've heard anything, to where when Eric plans to finalize his staff here at Arkansas?
Well, I tell you what, I would have thought that sometime last week, maybe this week, because the first live period for coaches to go out on the grassroots circuit is this weekend. And so, the live period's actually started now. I mean, coaches can go to schools and visit that. We're seeing a lot of that. Right. But the first live period on the grassroots circuit is this weekend. And so you would think you'd have your staff in place. I do think Anthony Ruda, I've been told before Muss even got the job, that if he comes to Arkansas, he's bringing Ruda with him. He's done that. He's going to be on this staff. I don't know if he'll end up being a bench coach. I know he's doing wearing a lot of different hats right now, helping Muss out. But he'll be someone retained. I think, obviously, Scotty Thurman's been doing work, and he's been a part of it. I don't know that a final decision's been made there. We'll see. But a lot of names that are out there. One guy they talked that I'm told that they did talk to or were interested in was Johnny Jones, a former LSU coach who, Muss was an associate head coach for him for a year. And then when Jones was removed from LSU, I think he worked with Musselman for a season out at Nevada when Musselman was the head coach out there. And then Jones took the head job at Texas Southern. So I think there were some talks there. I think that they've moved on from that. There's some other names that are out there. But you would like to have a staff in place, Pat, ideally by this weekend. Now, he's not going to rush things. He's going to get the right guys. Right. But let's keep our eyes open this week if something might be announced.
As always, my man, love the insight. And we'll be talking soon. As you know, this never stops. Recruiting is a constant sport in itself. But as always, Kevin, thanks for taking time out here on OTH, my brother.
Good to be with you, Pat. Always a pleasure.
All right. That was Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops, and that's going to wrap up today's On the Hill Sports Talk broadcast, our Monday edition. As I want to give a real quick thank you to our guest, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama,